Broken Wolf, Chapter 2, Katsuki Bakugou ex-Wolf Listener. Written by Big Bad Wolf. Wolf's a fangirl, and watch the link in the description below. The hair-colored girl looked up to see the ash blonde, then at his hand. He was starting to get impatient, but was able to fight his want to yell at the girl. She finally raised a shaking hand. The boy almost smiled as pulling her up close hand into his. Before he could grab her hand though, she opened it and something laid in his hand as she quickly pulled her hand away. He looked at the leash she placed in his hand and looked back at her, confused and angry about her giving him the leash. The eye-colored eyes of the girl were trained on the ground, and she stood up shakily, revealing the bruises and scars on her body. His expression softened more when he noticed the blood slowly dripping down her back, and the blood-stained bandages wrapped around both of her arms and her ears. She was used to people fighting to claim her as their property, and knew to never show weakness to them on their first day. The girl tried to take a step so that she was closer to him, only to have her back flared up in pain. She whined and fell to her knees before the spiky-haired boy. He dropped the leash and she shrank a little, expecting him to either hit her or just leave her to bleed out in the alley. A warm cloth hand touched her shoulder and blankly, gently as the warmth arm went under her legs. She looked up to see the boy was leaning over her. He picked up the skinny girl with ease and pulled her cold, bruised body to his warm chest. The boy now held her bridal style and began to walk out of the alley. When pushed into his chest a little and looked at the ground as he began to jog with her in his arms. The hair-colored girl shivered when a cool breeze touched her mostly exposed body. She looked off when the boy began to slow down, seeing the large school she would see on TV when one of her masters watched with her in the room. Yume High. It was apparently attacked by villains a couple months ago, but she couldn't be sure. A man with a scarf covering the bottom half of his face, wearing all black, stood on the step. He seemed tired and annoyed, but he grew tense when he saw the girl in the blonde's arms. Bakugou, what happened? Where have you been? He questioned in a tired voice that suddenly got angry. Not now. The blonde Bakugou growled as he passed the man. One clenched his shirt. I need to get her to the infirmary. The man followed him as his sped walked through the halls of the school. The girl shaking, the deeper in the building they got. Bakugou finally stopped in front of the door he practically kicked open, revealing a short old woman that had a string in her grey hair that was put up in a bun. One clutched Bakugou's shirt tighter and buried her face in it as much as muscles allowed, tears of fear filling her eyes. She hated infirmaries. They intentionally hurt her by pressing on her bruises hard or slapping her if she moved. What happened to this poor girl? The lady asked, walking up to the trembling girl, who whimpered when she touched her. Someone was basically treating her like a dog. Bakugou growled lowly. His grip on the girl tightened until he noticed it only scared the girl, so he calmed down a bit. I saw her shift from a wolf into a human. The bastard was holding her leash, threw her into an alley. And how exactly did you get her away from the man? The tired man asked, Bakugou turning his head to look at him. I told him to leave her alone. Then he tried to attack me. He smirked a little and looked at the man. The bastard attacked first. I was defending myself and saving this girl in the process. Well, that's good news. A new, friendly voice with a beaming mouse thing popping into Ryan's sight as she jumped, clutching Tighter tobacco. You didn't break the law. So if someone tells the police, we could just tell them that it was self-defense. So let this girl fix up. I think that was supposed to be Principal Nesu. Just think that it was him if it is. The white creatures decided the hair-colored girl as she sat up on a bed. Her grip tightened even more. Bakugou couldn't stand up without bringing her with him. So a bit before she was able to be ripped off his shirt. The blonde, a little annoyed. The old woman began to inspect her, mumbling things while she taking off Wayan's collar and muscle. She unwrapped the bandages and revealed nasty-looking bites and cuts. The grey-haired woman tisked and shook her head, causing the girls to flinch and whimper. She leaned over Wayan, and her lips stretched out, causing her to tense as she kissed her head. The hair-colored girl felt the wounds close and a rib that she was certain was broken for about a week fixed itself. Based on the scars and flesh wounds, it's safe to say she was used for dogfights. She told the people in the room, when shrink from the attention. She has also been abused by her captor. She doesn't seem to do well around people based on her actions, with just as few. The white creature thought. Bakugou shoving his hands in his pockets and still watched Wayan. That means letting her stay in this infirmary or sending her to the hospital will cause her some trauma. I'll look up people that have gone missing with her kind of quirk. The tired man suggested, his tired eyes going to the girl. It would help if we knew your name. She didn't say anything. She just grabbed her collar and held it up, looking away, not wanting to see their reaction. Wayan the Slayer? The white creature read aloud, looking at the girl with a sympathetic eyes. We can drop the title and just call you Wayan, correct? The girl nodded and was about to put her collar on, only to have a call-out hand stop her and take the collar. She looked up in surprise and fear, watching a crimson-eyed boy. He created an explosion in his hands and destroyed the collar into just a pile of ash on the floor. Wayan tilted her head slightly before grabbing the muzzle, only to have it snatched from her again. Stop putting stupid restraints on yourselves, he yelled, turning the muzzle to ash by making it explode in his hand. You're not a stupid dog. She didn't flinch as his raised voice and hostile tone just looked at him with confusion. But I am a dog, she said with a quiet, almost whispering-like voice. You're not a dog, damn it! Bakugou yelled, his eyes flaming, clearly forgetting about the adults in the room. He began to breathe heavily in rage. Wayan not seeming affected by it as she watched him. I believe they need to find a place for her to stay, the white creature said, making the girl jump and going on face in fear. Bakugou glared at him. Since he had been more comfortable around Bakugou, she should stay with him. Nesu, is that a good idea? The woman asked, receiving a glare from the blonde. But he softened a little when he looked back at Wayan. She needs help and attention. The best way to do it to make her share a room with someone, but they can be loud. She also needs to be with someone she's comfortable with, but it's only Bakugou. Nesu explained before nodding at Bakugou. You can leave and get Wayan situated. Just try not to hurt her and everything will be fine. Bakugou looked at Nesu to the tired man before nodding and holding his hand out for Wayan to take. She raised her hand slowly and hesitated before putting her smaller hand in his, the explosive blood fighting to keep a scowl on his face. His skin was still scarred for older wounds, causing him to grow angry just by looking at them. But he was all able to stay calm. One slid off the table, able to stand and took a trembling step, only to fall. Bakugou able to grab her before she fell. Can't even walk, he mumbled, picking her up bridal style and walking out of the room. When I left, I saw looked at Nesu. You really think it's a good idea for her to stay with Bakugou? Of course. Nesu smiled, jumping on the desk and looking at the tired man. Bakugou saved her life, and she needs to trust someone to get out of her current mental state. We will slowly introduce her to other students so she's comfortable around people, but we will allow Bakugou to pick who she meets, so he won't get angry. And if it works out, she will be able to help him with his anger problems. I see. Asawa nodded, walking out of the room. I'll see if I can find her family and make sure that Bakugou treats her well and introducing her to people. If I see her with a burn mark, Nesu, this isn't going to be staying with him. The cover girl warned, but smiled brightly. But I trust your judgment. Have a nice day. That was chapter 2. I'll be reading chapter 3 tomorrow. It's a lot shorter. I think it will take like 2 minutes to read, but I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!